One grape, but three very different wines. You might think you like a certain grape variety, but the region in which it's made and the method in which it's made make a massive difference to the flavour. So the best way to look at that is by tasting different wines made with the same grape variety alongside each other. So that's what we're going to do today. Here I have 3 different Chardonnays from 3 different wine regions. So let's give them a taste. My first wine is a Chablis, which is a Chardonnay from the Chablis region of France. Chablis is a relatively cool climate region of France. So when I taste the wine, the fruit isn't super ripe. I'm getting lovely acidity, tart lemon, green apple, and all of this gives a very clean, fresh finish that's super refreshing. It's also got a bit of a salty taste, which comes from the area's limestone soils, which are basically ancient seabeds filled with marine fossils. I've got a lovely example of a Chablis here, which is from Ferry Brothers. It costs about £25, and it is a gorgeous example of a classic Chablis. It's lean, it's clean, it's almost kind of flinty and salty. It's got a really nice long finish as well, so I can tell it's quite high quality. Wine number 2 is here, and it's an Australian Chardonnay from Lidl. It costs about £6. Now this is the cheapest of our 3 Chardonnays, but I would say it really punches above its price. So let's give this one a taste. The fruit is much riper than it was for the Chablis that I just tasted. It's much more kind of juicy lemon and lime, ripe melon. Now this makes sense because this comes from the limestone coast in southern Australia. So Australia is a warm climate generally, but this bit of Australia isn't super warm. So we get a bit more ripeness than we did with the Chablis, but the fruit isn't crazy ripe, very tropical, that sort of stuff. Texture-wise, it's really nice and creamy in the mouth, which tells me it's probably gone through a process called malolactic fermentation, which gives those nice creamy flavours. I'm also getting secondary notes from it, so things like nuts, and that tells me it's probably spent some time in oak barrels, which gives kind of nutty caramel and vanilla notes. Overall, I'd say it's really good for £6. However, the finish isn't super long, so I don't think it's particularly complex. It's a relatively simple wine, but for the price, it does a great job. So wine number 3 is a Chardonnay from California in the US. This costs about £10 and it comes from Asda. So let's give it a taste. So the absolute first thing I noticed about this are the aromas. It's incredibly nutty. I'm getting caramel, I'm getting vanilla. It's almost like serving your face in an ice cream sundae. Now, as I said before, those flavours generally mean that the wine has spent some time in oak barrels, and given the strength of these flavours, I think it's probably spent a lot of time in oak barrels. Texture-wise, similarly to the last wine, it's creamy, it's relatively full-bodied, so it's probably gone through that same process of malolactic fermentation. Now, I do like these flavours, but they can be a bit overwhelming, so I think this wine will probably do quite well with some food. So there you go. 3 different wines made with the same grape, but very different outcomes. Now, what's my verdict? Well, personally, I think the Chablis was definitely my favourite. It just feels really elegant, refined. I also really enjoyed the Australian Chardonnay. I think for £6, it's a really impressive wine. But as I said, it's probably quite a lot more simple, whereas this will be a lot more complex. The butter cider from Asda, also good, but the flavours can be a bit overpowering. So really, it's probably quite a Marmite wine. So to sum up, this would definitely be my favourite of the 3 Chardonnays.